Freak out.
All right,
Good. We can go.
here we are. There's three of us.
Three of us now.
We're about to have a threesome.
I'm down.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
You're like a virgin, and we're about to break you in.
Yeah.
All right, so hey, welcome to the show. We're talking about basic training today. We've got a guest, our first guest.
First guest, yeah.
You should be super excited because you are the first guest on the show. So we're happy to have you. So this is my buddy Nolan. You went to basic training with me. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm from Maryville, Tennessee. I went to basic with Phillips here, and then I ended up going to Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, 25th Infantry Division, 3rd Brigade, and I spent 4 years out there. So Hawaii's not all it's cracked up to be, but it is.
That's why you're not the. I had a buddy that was with 25th also, and he said he was happy to go to Fort Lewis.
Yeah, it's. If you're gonna go, you got to space out your adventures. Because if you knock everything out in 6 months, you got 3.5 more years.
And that's what he said. He goes, yeah. And then his complaint was you got 150 dudes chasing 4 single women.
Yep.
That's what he said. He said,
I mean, it makes sense. Definitely, because you got college girls out there, Hawaii University.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff out there. But it's everybody is chasing it. So it was a good time overall.
So if you're just now watching like an episode or whatever. Joey here was a 19 kilo. I was a 19 delta. Obviously, we went to basic together, so he's a 19 delta as well. Yeah, but the topic today is basic training.
Yeah,
we're gonna get into some cool stuff about. Kind of feel like I'm like in between, like I need to be stroking both of you at the same time. I don't know, right, like I'm skiing kind of.
Oh, well, you might be leaning this way.
But yeah, we're going to get into basic training. We're going to get into your experiences, our experiences. The cheese wheel comment.
He's going to have to do this.
That messed me up.
It's all about growth, not length.
Yeah. I'm a grower, not a shower. Blame my parents. Wasn't my fault I was born like this.
I'm sorry, that reminds me of that Adam Sandler movie with like Click. When he's like talking about like it's not a tic tac anymore.
Yeah.
She's like, okay.
Yep.
But yeah, we're going to get into kind of like the whole process for us and share some experiences.
Yeah,
talk about what it was like.
Like why we joined and our experiences through basic training because everybody's different. Even though you guys went at the same time, your views are probably different than yours. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's always good to get everybody's.
I thought that was cool, like to kind of bring somebody else in the sense of like, I mean, obviously, you experienced basic training the way you experienced it. I experienced basic training the way I experienced it. But it's really cool to know that we both went through. Not only did we go to the same troop, but we were in the same platoon. Yeah. We were 4 bunks down from each other.
We were
closer than that, right?
Yeah, I thought we were right next to each other.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It was me.
That's really rare.
It was me and O'Connor, and then you and.
Ramos,
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it is rare. Like the fact that
usually
me and you grew up. How old are you?
30.
All right, so I'm 29. So we're
but you guys grew up in the basically same area in Knoxville.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Like we're about the same age in the sense of like we grew up in the same area. I mean, besides Irwin went to the same high school as me, but you went to a different high school. But we grow up 20 minutes from each other.
Yeah.
The first time we meet one another is on the van or the bus, whatever you want to call it, going to basic. But
you need to show that grainy ass video of us getting in the van.
Oh, I do have a grainy.
I think it was your mom that took that video,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
I have a video of us getting in the van, in the Raper van.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so what is the odds though that we grow up that far away from each other? And like 20 minutes or whatever, we end up in basic together. We end up in the same platoon, a bunk away.
Yeah.
We split off, and then here we are, I don't know, like 10 years later.
10 years later, yeah.
Like reconnecting.
Yes.
So
full circle.
I think it'll be cool to see what your basic training experience was like, because that's what we saw probably growing up as like, this is the basic training kind of thing that we were like the war fighting, stuff like that. And then here we are. We end up together. We're all three going to talk about it. And it's going to be a wild ride.
I appreciate you guys letting me come out.
No,
bullshit.
Really, thank you.
No, we're super happy to have you.
Yeah,
I'm stoked.
It changes the dynamic a little bit because we're used to
just us two. So,
but I think it's good to have like that third party because I mean you kind of get like aligned and we start talking on one subject. It'll be nice to see the difference of having
right. Yeah, that third person. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think it's cool. But all right, what made you join?
Well, literally every single male in my family, all the way back to the Revolutionary War, had in some way served the country.
So
and
tradition.
So it was kind of a tradition thing. And then also a good friend of mine, Tyler, he's since passed, but we joined together. We went to high school together, and his mom and dad, or his mom had passed away, and so that was kind of his. I need to go somewhere. I need to do something, and I was like, well, I was planning on joining, and he really needed some help, so I told him I'd go with him.
Yeah.
So we went to the recruiting office together, and he was actually going to be a scout with us, and probably would have went with us. But he overslept the day the first time we went to MIPS.
Oh, okay.
So we missed that, and so when he came back, he ended up being heavy artillery on a Paladin.
Well, okay, that's a 13 something or other.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So he would have been with us if he wouldn't overslept that day. But yeah, that's pretty much why I joined. I knew I was going to, since honestly, even I was tiny, but since 9/11,
right,
that was something I knew.
See, that's something that
I was in what,
third grade.
So I started school in '98. So yeah, third grade.
Because I was in second grade.
Yes.
I was just taking a guess because like year difference. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, you were probably in second or third grade. I was in second grade.
Third grade. Yeah. I was actually on a field trip at Cades Cove whenever that happened, and they sent us home. But yeah.
Really? So you guys
back that far.
Were you always interested in?
Yep, always.
Yeah, because that's something because I have a good military family background, but I always loved military stuff since I was a kid. Had tanks, played all the time.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
You know.
Yeah, I was the same way. Like I grew up the same way, and like playing with Army stuff, and so my dad had served, my granddad had served, so it was like that family thing you were talking about, like. But also, I mean, you were talking about in the sense of like I did everything on, but 9/11 kind of like. I just remember, and I know this is crazy to be like in second grade, but like once that happened, whether I realized it or not, like I was already on that path, that trajectory of like, this was something that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I think like, it's hard to say when you're in second grade or third grade or whatever, but the playing got a little more real, in the sense of like, it went from, I'm just playing this like, I'm gonna get myself ready, like I'm playing, but I'm playing with like a little bit more.
And as like when I was younger, of course, Vietnam just ended, so there was really nothing. So we just we played. It was like from Vietnam guys, we're plain soldiers, But you guys, you were at war, and so it was probably a little more.
And that was the thing too. Like I don't know if you did it, but like when I was in school, it was a lot about like writing letters to soldiers and like.
They actually, not that I remember, we didn't even really have any of those options.
So we wrote a lot of letters when I was like a lot of letters, a lot of care packages being sent out and stuff. But my uncle invaded Iraq the second go around.
Yeah,
we know you did it before, but. So he invades the second go around, and like, I think that was like my big thing too. He was in the 101st. He invaded, and like, my whole life from that point growing up was like worrying about him and worrying about where he is and what he's doing, and
right,
and then all the stories, the pictures, and like, so and what's crazy about that, we were talking about Sergeant Major Rish earlier, but like, what's crazy about that is that the year that I got out, my uncle retired.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like he had been in my entire life, like building up to the Army, my entire career when I was in.
Yeah.
And then we met in Clarksville, with my wife, and we had dinner, and like he was retiring that year and I was getting out that year. So like it's kind of like crazy to think about too, in the sense of like
kind of like the changing of the guard almost.
Yeah, like this build up. My entire youth he had been in the military, he'd been deployed and things like that. So like. it was just cool for me to get out being in the 101st and then to know that he invaded Iraq with the 101st. I'm really weird about all those things. I try to find like
the connection
things
Yeah,
to
the
connect,
connection.
you
Yeah,
know,
for
like,
sure.
but knowing that he was there and stuff, like going all the way through high school, I knew that I wanted to go. Like me and my dad had that conversation when I was 17, and my parents signed the waiver, and like I was just doing it. But like your buddy, my whole thing was, and I hate to admit this, I really do because I fucking hate the infantry. But the first MOS I chose was 11 Bravo.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
Even I did. You know, even when I was younger, I'm going infantry. That's it.
So whenever I was really talking about going, you know, being, you know, 17, 18 years old, I'm like, you know, I want to kill the bad guys. It's, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'll be infantry or something. But my papaw from here, and then my grandfather in Wyoming. So my papaw down here, he was a tunnel rat in Vietnam infantry.
Okay.
My grandfather in Wyoming, he was Marines in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So he got shot in the stomach, and they were both like, just don't be infantry. Don't do the infantry. And so I was like, okay, you know, I made him that promise, but I got to find the next best thing.
Yeah.
And in that video, scout video, I saw
dirt bike, the
ghillie suit, and just being badass. I was like, that's it right there.
See,
I was like, hey, I'm not infantry.
Was different. I sat there and I knew me, and when they showed me the armor video, you know, tank hauling ass. And I said that, I go, those guys ever walk? And that recruiter goes, never. And I said, I think I want to do that one.
See, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't thinking about walking.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, like, I wanted to
be in the shit.
But another thing
I feel like you were a little bit more methodical.
Like you had
a little bit more education.
I remember my Uncle Frank, who was dual war, Korea and Vietnam, he was infantry, you know, and he talked about humping through the jungles, you know, not real detailed, but just things like that. And I'm like, okay, remember that. Even though the movie Platoon came out, good movie. I'm like, and I'm like, that motherfucker's walking everywhere, you know. But what I wanted to do, because I grew up a John Wayne fan, I kind of grew up. My grandmother, I think, loved him more than my grandfather. I grew up watching John Wayne, but his cav movies. So I wanted to always be in a cav regiment, no matter what. And thank God, the 2 units I were in was all cav. So that's awesome. One thing I hold still prideful.
Yeah, that's funny. Like, I hate to change the subject, but me and Megan were talking about this the other day about John Wayne, and she gets mad. I turn on like old Clint Eastwood, like you know, the Outlaw, Josie Wells, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah.
Like, so I watched a lot of Clint Eastwood, and it was just funny to hear that because I was like, now that I think back to it, you know, like what I think was the Outlaw Josie Wells, right? Like he's on the
Bushwhackers.
But I'm saying like he's on horse. He's a cavalryman.
He was a cavalry. The fact you're Jesse James, your Bushwhackers, they were basically cavalrymen. Yeah,
so it was just funny to think about that moment, like you talking about John Wayne and thinking about Clint Eastwood. I was like, man, like, I don't know, maybe I was influenced to be a scout from from earlier on.
Yeah.
I didn't
and that was my love with the cavalry because of she wore Yellow Ribbon, Fort Apache, Rio Grande. Those are like my 3 favorites of the John Waynes. You know.
I went in pretty haphazardly. I just knew I wanted to do something to be a badass, you know, I wanted to be cool.
Yeah, well, you saw that fucking video. I mean, anybody that watches that video.
Like, and then my papaw down here, he before I signed, like when I told him I was joining and he was trying to talk me out of infantry, he made me sit down and watch Hamburger Hill with him.
Yeah, good movie.
Very good movie. Yeah. And he was like, just think about this. He was like, it seems all fun and games. It is not.
It's not.
Until the shit happens.
Right.
And then so he was just promised me, you don't be infantry.
And you know, and I can see what he was trying to do, you know, but you know, in your mind too, I was the same way back when I was like, man, if anything goes down, man, I want to be right there.
You're invincible, you know.
Yeah, right. You know, I want to be, you know, because all my my grandfather, my uncles. I have an uncle that he was killed in the battle of Bastogne, outside of Bastogne. You know, so I want to do something that's going to be important instead of, you know, all right, put these underwear on the truck and I wanted to be something important.
Well, I definitely knew I didn't want to be supplied by watching fucking Men and Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, really though.
I watched
mean,
Band of Brothers, and when I saw when I saw what's his name, the captain that leads them through airborne and everything, but he ends up as a supply.
Sobel.
Yeah, Sobel.
Yeah.
When I saw Captain Sobel like doing the supply stuff, and he was like, "This is a U.S. Army fucking."
Yeah,
like, dude, I
I
don't want to be that guy that's like,
dude.
I just don't know.
It's
I mean, that's a guy
and
who
I
hasn't
know
seen
we.
or done
And there's the thing.
Yeah.
I know we need them, but I didn't want to be that guy.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't want to be that guy.
I can't see being a young man wanting to be that to be my first choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I know guys like my brother-in-law who he was in 11 Bravo. He was with 10 Mountain. He went back in, but he was older. Knees weren't as great back, And my buddy too. I consider him my brother, pretty much, like my cousin. When he went back in, same thing. He was a tanker, but now he was older. So hey, supply, perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh
well,
yeah.
That's like my uncle. He was 11 Bravo and like. Deployed to Iraq and did the infantry thing, but then when he got on the recruiting path,
yeah,
I understand. I like now doing the military, now going through the steps, going through the fucking process. I get it in the sense of like, I think start out as combat arms and then like later in your career, you can transition to something because it fit for his family lifestyle in the sense of like 9 to 5. Got to see his wife, his kids,
and that important stuff. That important stuff. We look back,
But to me, it was like he might not even feel this way, but to me, it was like he earned the fact of being a recruiter.
For sure,
right?
He did the deployments, he did the rotations, and like did all the hard shit as an infantryman. And I was like, dude, write that fucking shit out. I was like, and he retired as a recruiter, but you earned it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see myself going in right off the rip. Doing something that's like easy or slow or just like the fact of like, okay, maybe I do 10 years as a scout and then fucking be a recruiter, or not even 10 years. Fucking 8 years was enough.
But I remember seeing some guys who were older tankers, and it was like sometimes you looked at them like you hear them get on the tank.
I'll be honest, like the biggest thing for me getting out was like my platoon sergeant is, in his 40s. And he's an E7, and he's still doing the same dumb shit that I'm doing, and I'm fucking in my 20s, and I'm like, this is not going to be my life on fucking repeat. It's going to be a different unit, different field problem, but it's going to be the same shit over and over and over. The walking, the fucking, you still got to pass the ruck, you still got to fucking load this and do that.
You're older, and by then, the knees are hurting, the hips are hurting.
Yeah. I had
so my hat's off to them motherfuckers.
That guy do it. I'm telling you, went up but respect.
It was funny because one of the guys I went to high school with, he joined the same time I did, and I don't know if you're recruiting or yours did whenever you're was it Future Soldier Program or whatever it is. It's like the time in between when you sign up.
I don't know if they have that.
We call it delayed entry program.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
They just changed the name.
Future Soldier.
Okay.
Well, so. We had met up at the recruiting station to do PT.
Funny fact thing. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, you want to go ahead.
At the Future Soldiers thing, you got an ID card.
Mm-hmm.
I bought beer for my first time.
Did you guys really?
Yeah. So I had a fake ID in high school. My parents don't know this. Oh my god, that's gonna be a fun conversation. But when you
statute of limitations.
You're
good now.
When you become a future soldier, it just means like your basic training, like you said, delayed entry, like your basic training.
You're
waiting for your date to go.
Yeah,
right.
So they give you like a little ID card that says future soldier and it's got your shit on it. And I like looked at my buddy and I was like, dude, it doesn't have my birthday. Nobody's gonna question this. It's an Army ID. They're gonna see that shit and they're gonna sell me beer.
Yeah.
I went straight to the store. I was like, I had my fake ID in my pocket, but I was like, I'm gonna try that. And dude, that's the first time that I bought beer that I was not like scared to buy beer.
Right.
Like I just showed it to him and he was like, oh yeah, you're good. Yeah, whatever you want. I was like, yes.
Thanks, bro.
So for like 3 months, I'm like, I have my future soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me that 12-pack.
I didn't do any of that. I gotta say, within 2 weeks, I was gone.
Oh, see, no, I had time.
Yeah,
I signed up probably like 2 months before I graduated high school.
Really?
So I had to wait.
I mean, I was working at a.
So
I think I was at a lumber yard one day. I said, fuck this.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was like December I signed up in December. I was still 17. My parents had to sign a waiver because I didn't turn 18 till May. Our ship date wasn't until August.
Yeah.
So I had from
So
December to
August.
August. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Well,
So
you guys almost had a whole year.
I had like 6 months at least.
At least, yeah.
So I had to finish high school. Then I had the summer, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went, or not the summer, but you know what I'm saying, like.
Yeah, I know. Cause I remember you came to the house and we talked. I'm like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?"
Yeah.
When is your birthday?
May 24th.
Mine's the 26th.
Yeah, so I think we've had that conversation.
Sure, yeah, I was like,
yeah.
Sorry.
Wow, really?
2 days different. Yeah, I'm just
2 days
a year older.
We both got banging ass beards.
Getting there. Yeah.
I can't grow.
Well, I think it's the Native American, right?
It could be. I'm 54 years old. This is it. This is full blown.
You got hair up there though.
Yeah.
I ain't got that shit.
Mine's receding. Mine's
receding.
Back. Dude, it used to be up here. No, it used to be up here. And now
I remember. Now I get some.
I ain't showing it on camera.
Let me see it.
No, I ain't showing it on camera.
Nah.
Baby. Oh man, that's funny.
But I didn't mean to cut I don't even know if you remember what you're talking about. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just thinking about that future soldier idea.
Well, we were talking about like working your way from being badass to something easier.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, buddy, I joined up with, and we were going to do that PT session. I was like, oh, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm a cook. And then my first instinct was like,
yeah,
whatever. And then I actually saw him a couple of years ago, and for the first time since then, I was like, dude, thank you. Like, nothing's better than having y'all come out whenever we're out and you throw some hot chow. Like,
you see them containers getting off, you're like,
like fuck MREs.
It's weird. 2 weeks we've been out here.
Yeah, but then when you realize what the cook cooks, it's a big ass MRE.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
but it's still hot. It's still hot.
They just leave it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's hot.
Yeah. It's just the appreciation. It's like you give each other shit, but realistically, every single person is needed to make the whole thing turn.
It is. But like guys like us in combat MOS, we got to give those guys shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But they can be real dicks. They can make our life a little harder out there.
Yeah.
When I heard people go in supply, I was like, you're fucking big.
Yeah. Exactly.
But then when I met my supply guy,
pull your fucking man.
I was like, dude, I will. But then when I met the supply guy, I was like, dude, I'll suck your dick for a green notebook right now.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like, bro, I need a green notebook. Like, please.
Yeah. You make friends with them so they'll pass you when you go to turn your weapon in.
And I know, like for us,
like the armor. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, hey man, you got rank back there, please. You got that rank? Like, what you got back there? Something.
When I was in the Middle East, we'd get like a pack of smokes a day. Oh, you'd love to see that truck pull up. Like,
we didn't get that. No, we're fine for like pens, notebooks, rank.
Yeah.
They didn't give you anything important, but it was also important in the sense of like, I got Velcro and that shit fucking fell off. Like, bro, I need this. I need this. Please help me.
Yeah. Well, we our unit standard was sew on, so we weren't allowed to do the Velcro. All our shit had to be sewn on.
Yep. So so Fort ID for me, like I know we're skipping like ahead, but Fort ID was all Velcro. Yeah. When I got to the 101st, it was like, I'm not gonna tell you to sew your shit on, but you're gonna sew your fucking shit on.
Yeah.
Right. One of those. Yeah.
So like. That was the.
I'm not telling you to do it, but you're going to volunteer to do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, like, depending on the unit you're in, depends on like your fucking Army experience. Because I spent 4 years at Fort ID, and then I spent 4 years at the 101st, and like the 4 years at Fort ID, I don't know. It wasn't. That's where I got hazed as a private and stuff. But like I'm saying, like it wasn't that bad. It was a Velcro. Yeah. A lot of guys didn't have schools, like. It was just like a weird thing. But then when I got to the 101st, I showed up and like a private has fucking aerosol, their shit sewn on. I'm like, got bacon strips. I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
So
I stand out.
Real quick things like the standards are completely different.
Yeah. So when you're at 25, what I consider 25 a pretty.
I feel like your experience there is probably like what the 101st was like you shit sewn on. You're gonna be fucking legit. Like I don't know, maybe I don't know. I've never been there.
So we're on Hawaii. We're on the island, and we can do what the fuck we want.
So there's a saying in the 25th that's where soldiers go to die.
I can see that.
So not like in a literal sense, but like it's just so that, I mean obviously you have it is still pretty squared away,
Right.
but it's also you get a lot of guys that come from like the 101st or third ACR or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're just like, this, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is so fucked up.
Really?
You walk on the grass out there.
Oh my God,
yeah,
really?
yeah. It all like it's just, and so for me, that being my first duty station, they're like, you guys, and the only other thing about it is 25th is known for like if you're going 25th, you're deploying, like you're going somewhere all the time,
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time. Second brigade's if
Yeah,
second
they're-
brigade's
you-
not gone, third
they're
brigade's
rotating,
gone.
right.
Yeah,
That's probably how
constantly.
that mentality was developed, though.
Yeah.
In the sense of like,
Because you're always gone. So when you're back, fuck everything. I don't care.
yeah.
That's pretty.
And-
Sleeves on, blouse, boots.
But
Whatever.
that's what I was saying
It's
about the
just-
101st is in the sense of like the discipline and like the aggressiveness is different than 4th ID, but at the same time, the things that you can get away with at the 101st versus
Yeah.
4th ID is different in the sense
Right.
of like, you can walk on the grass or fucking
Yeah.
your cuffs are undone,
Yeah.
your boots aren't bloused properly.
Yeah.
But at 4th ID, like your boots are bloused properly and your cuffs are done, but
Yeah.
you're still, like I said, like the Velcro and like
Right.
guys haven't been
Mhm.
to schools. Like, I think the discipline's different because the guys haven't experienced a lot.
Right.
But then when you get to the 101st, the discipline is different and a different mentality in the sense of like, this is for combat. You will sew your shit on because like we're not going to look like a bag of dicks, but also at the same time, I don't care if your cuffs are undone.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we're also going to be on a high speed training regiment.
Oh yeah, no.
Where
That's
4th
yeah,
ID
joke.
is like more
Yeah.
spaced
That
out.
that
like,
was
Yeah.
it was all about training, being ready
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
do your job.
Well, and that's what some
You
of
know.
our drill sergeants, like whenever the ones of us that got selected to go to 25th, our drill sergeants pulled all of us aside and was like, you guys be ready. Out of every other unit that we've either been to or heard about, 25th is the one you are nonstop.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
Always going to be doing something.
Well, like I tell my buddy who was a mortar, he goes, we're constantly either rotating somewhere,
Yep.
or was out there in the
Yep.
They
And
call
it's
it
a
the
jungle.
jungles of
It's
Hawaii.
a fucking jungle.
Yeah.
But
And it
to,
sucks.
to caveat off of that, that's like there was multiple times where the drill sergeants were like, if you're going to the 82nd, the 101st, the 25th, 10th Mountain, you were deploying constantly, right?
Yeah.
You're always going.
We had, I think even Patterson had been at 4th ID and deployed with 4th ID, but they all talked about. So when I found out I was going to, Carson, I was like, I didn't even know what the fuck Carson was. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know what 4th ID was. I didn't know what Carson was. I didn't do a lot of research on that. My big things were the 101st, 82nd, blah blah blah.
the big
But they kept telling me, they were like, "Oh, that's the place I would want to go to retire." Like I would retire out of 4th ID. And then after you do the time, you start to understand, like, no, I get it. Like 4th ID was not a hard place to be.
right.
Carson to me is, you put Carson, you put 101st on the map, and I'm like, I'll go to Carson, like if I want to chill.
Well, that
But if I want to do something cool, I'm gonna go to the 101st.
That's
I
like-
know, like
when they moved the third cab out of Fort Bliss, they went to Carson. I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that?
yeah.
I was on the Juarez border of Mexico. You know what I mean?
I've heard
Now-
shit stories about Fort Bliss.
Oh yeah, they said the quickest
It's
way to
awful.
E6, E5 is get there as an E6.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 That's funny as shit. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we
Take
did
a break.
we talked a lot. I don't mean to cut it off, but we talked a lot about like what kind of got us to go,
Yeah.
what will happen afterwards or whatever. But like, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that fucking ride to, because I
think
know
so.
your
the ride to.
your experience is gonna be different than hers. In the
Oh
sense
yeah.
of, like, I've always wondered what that was like too, like flying and
Yeah,
how
I
the
actually
Army
had a
handled
fly.
that.
You know, we were in MEPS in LA.
Yeah,
So I'll tell when we get back. Yeah.
Well, no, like let's get into it. Let's talk
Okay,
about.
yeah, okay.
Let's talk about like. Let's get the trip. The trip
So
down.
I went from.
How did you? I just want to know. How did you feel in the days leading up to you leaving for basic?
Yeah, that's a good question. Anyway,
I was like nervous whether or not I fucked up or not. Again, when you saw Full Metal Jacket and the training scenes, you're like, oh god, what the hell did I do?
you start kind of rethinking your.
Rethinking your decision.
Yeah.
So it was like maybe a 45-minute ride to LA, the MEP station there. We get everything. They put us in a hotel room. So you're there all night thinking. They tell you, all right, you wake up this time. But it was a little, I want to say I was a little nervous. You know, I grew up pretty tough, you know, not a lot of pretty tough neighborhood and everything, but not going into the unknown, I guess. You know what I mean?
I guess the best way I think about it is like I wasn't nervous about if I could complete basic training. I was just nervous about, like you said, like the unknown. Like
Yeah.
I knew what I was getting myself into. I did kind of rethink a couple of things like the night before, but I'm saying like
Yeah, I don't think I slept really because they put you in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just don't remember sleeping.
kinda like-
I called my parents and I called my girlfriend and I said, I don't know, call you again. So
yeah.
but yeah, that next just being just nervous that next morning, you know, all right, now they bus us to LAX. Now we're getting on a plane.
Yeah, it's real.
So and that's right, and there's like a bunch of us. But then we all landed in Dallas Fort Worth, and then that's where everybody doom
Split off to where
switch
they're going
off.
to
And there's
Jackson.
I think there was like 6 of us going to Knox, and we're from all over
Yeah.
California. I mean, we so and then there was that flight all the way from there to Louisville. Landed in Louisville, so they had to come and get us. So we're sitting out there just waiting, and then they shuttled us to.
How long was that bus ride or shuttle or whatever from when you get on a shuttle, you go to LAX, you get on a plane, go to Fort Worth, then you get to Lexington, and then you got to get on another. This is the thing that blows my mind is that you have multiple different
so
things that you got
to me it was almost like too much time to you know what I mean. You're like you guys like I can like leave LA leave Dallas Fort Worth and just say hey fuck
I need a plane ticket back to LA.
Yeah. But you know just I think it seemed like it was all day because we got into the old barracks there at Fort Knox. I want to say from the airport to Fort Knox, man, to me it seemed like forever. You know, because again the unknown, you know. But it was I don't know. I won't say an hour, probably not even that. Maybe
that's like your last hour, that's like your last
and then I mean
like that's when the thoughts start ramping up.
And then it's early morning we get into the older barracks where they filmed the movie Stripes at. You know?
Oh shit.
Yeah. So but there at night and you're just kind of everybody just checking each other out, like hey, just kind of just keeping it.
That's what's crazy that to think about is the fact of like you had multiple changes in transportation, multiple hours or whatever to get to your destination. So like you do have that thought process of it every transportation change, right?
Right.
So I mean, what a lot of people I don't think understand is that your thoughts are going constantly,
and then you try and talk to the guys to keep yourself
level. But the thing
everything.
is, you got these multiple transportation changes in the sense of like you are one just small thing away from just fucking walking away.
Oh yeah. I think it was at Dallas. I was like, if I don't want to do this, I can hit that exit. And what's crazy from Dallas Fort Worth to Louisville. We were late. Our flight coming in from LA was late. They actually held the flight for us. I think it was like I want to say maybe like 6 of us that were going to Knox.
That's awesome.
Wow.
They held the flight.
you're kind of like hell yeah.
You're
like God damn.
You're there. You go we've been waiting for you. We're like oh fuck.
And the whole time your recruiter's butthole is probably like
oh yeah.
Clenched
I wonder if there's I hope all
like,
them.
Fuck! I just hope they make it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, at one point we're walking by, there's the X. I'm like, I had cash in my pocket, get a cab and get the hell out of here. But no, because
the trip for us is a lot different.
A lot different.
Because you guys went from here
straight
to Bend.
And that's
like
a
a
good
4 hour. It's like it's 5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours.
Did you guys pull off and eat?
Yeah. So we had like a ticket we had a meal voucher.
Meal voucher. Yeah.
And we went to Denny's, right? I think
it was Shoney's.
Shoney's.
Yeah.
We went to both because we're like, this is our last minute. Like, let's go somewhere like a buffet, pig out.
Yeah.
And the lady we had driving, I don't know if you remember, but she smoked
cigarettes
like a freight train. And she smoked Misties. She smoked them damn yardsticks, but she would not let us smoke or dip in the van.
But she
was up there smoking the whole time.
To kind of set the stage for this, right? So we did the same thing you did in the sense of we go downtown Knoxville.
Yeah, Crown Plaza.
We stay in a hotel. So we stayed in the same hotel we stayed in the night before MEPS, but we stayed in the hotel. And then we meet up at the MEP station, like your your parents can come or whatever. But I remember like that night being like,
I barely slept.
I think me and Erwin went to a movie, and then we came back and like, I was just like, dude, I don't know what to fucking do with myself. But when we get to MEPS and we show up, it's like a little fucking like transit van.
Yeah.
That picks us up. And there's only, I don't even remember how many. This is
It
how
was us
like
3. I think there was 2 others.
I think there was like 5 of us. Yeah, like
Right,
you said, like all together, like on this van. And then for the first like, I think for the first 30 minutes we were all talking, and then I think like that like silent period hit.
Yeah.
Where we're all like sitting there like 2 hours in, like, oh, what the fuck did we do?
Yeah.
Then we had Shoney's.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Shoney's was like an hour or something like that before we got to Benning. But then like I said, I've been to Benning multiple times before that because my dad was there, stuff like that. But when I saw that fucking archway and like the follow me and everything, I was like, oh my God, we're here. Like, this is it. Like, holy shit. Like,
yep.
Yeah. I remember like getting like coming into that little spot and being like,
because that was that. I think
we did it.
I think that's everybody, because I know for us we're kind of just chit because early mornings. I started kind of joking a little bit. That's how I deal with a lot of shit. I just started making fun of shit. But like, once you saw that tank on the Fort Knox, it was like,
yep. Yeah, well, I remember we pulled up and the gate guard was like, you guys nervous? And I think maybe Erwin was like, I got some butterflies. He's like, fuck that, you better have dragons in your stomach. And we were like, oh shit.
See, they knew it.
God. Oh God.
It was funny because I think Erwin was behind me, then it was me, then it was you.
I was in the front row, yeah.
I think it was you, then me, then him, and like the other cheer or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember that was the first time me and you met each other, and so we went through this whole process and didn't even know each other until we like.
Yeah. I talked to Erwin the first time at MEPS.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I talked to you or not, but I talked to him because I think me and him started playing ping pong at the MEPS station, and I was like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm going to be a 19 Delta. I was like, oh, me too. Oh, okay, so we'll see you back.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of,
But I just remember me and you, I like have this distinct memory of like you leaning over the seat, like talking to me or whatever, me and you just like bullshitting or whatever on the way there. And then like, it's funny because like you all know each other.
Right.
And then you pull up to that fucking building, and like, you get out and there's a drill sergeant there at 30th AG. And you don't know that 30th AG is not basic training yet.
Yeah, it was a total.
Oh yeah, you don't know.
You don't know that reception.
All right, start now.
Yeah, that's what we thought. Yeah.
So, but we thought like pulling up to that building, like this is it. Like, we're about to get our fucking shit kicked in. Cap Scout 19 Delta fucking basic training.
Yeah, be out of here.
And they're like, get off the bus. We're like, oh fuck, like blah blah blah. But like, we'll take a break and we'll come back and talk about it. But it was like, the realization sinks in that you're there. But then also, like, it fades away so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're just in survival mode at that point.
Right.
Yeah, you just you don't have a chance really to, because you're just constantly doing something. You don't really have a chance to sit and dwell on it.
But I remember, like, just the first few days, we're in civilian clothes getting information. I'm like, oh, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
But that's what
we weren't doing that. There was like really no PT. It was like going to chow and.
Yeah, looking back on it now, you're like 30th AG is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it's your like indoctrination into prison though. Like your first day there, you're like, oh shit, I'm getting raped by Bubba today.
Yeah.
And then you start to learn the rules, and you're like, oh, this isn't even prison.
Well,
we'll go over to the next
week. My thing was, all right, so these 2 or 3 days, this count as a 16, right?
They don't tell you about that.
Yeah, no.
We were there for like what?
We were like a week,
like almost 2.
Like
Did you guys have? They get you your BDU?
Yeah, we'll talk about reception here. But I'm just saying, like, this is the point though where you get off the bus, all the shit you've been building up to, and then
it's finally here.
And it's finally here, but then you're kind of misled in the sense
of
it's
almost like a tease.
Kind of extremely misled.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about after the break we'll talk about reception, and then we'll talk about drill sergeant pickup. But
yeah.
Dude.